I have talked in recent weeks about some of the celebrations and some of the particular days that we observe in our church calendar, and today I'd like to talk about something that we call principal feasts. Now, in the calendar of the Episcopal Church, there are 7 principal feasts. Those are Easter, Ascension Day, Pentecost, Trinity Sunday, All Saints' Day, Christmas Day, and the day of the Epiphany. So some of those have particular dates, and some are what we call movable feasts, which I will talk about next time. But these 7 principal feasts of the church are days that take precedence over every other kind of observance that we may do. So if it is a principal feast day, then the readings, the propers for that day, will be the readings for that principal feast and not for any other occasion that it happens to fall on. Now, I do want to say that these dates can change, and so this morning I found myself wondering, why can't I think of the date of Ascension Day? And the reason is because it changes every year. So there are certain keys in our calendar that help us to determine when these principal feasts of the church year fall. I want to say one other thing about these days, and this is not something that we are required to do, but in some churches they very much encourage for baptisms to take place on principal feast days. Now, in our church, I haven't held to that because, for a pastoral reason. When we have a baptism in the church, it's a big occasion for the family and for the community, for the congregation. So I like to defer, in some sense, to the family in terms of when they can get people here to celebrate the baptism. So in many churches, you will find that when you ask about having a baptism, they will immediately start looking at the dates of principal feast days and try to tie the baptism to that, which I honor that and I understand it, but it can be very confining, and it can change things in terms of how the family is able to approach that celebration and that particular occasion in their family life. So I honor that we are encouraged to do that, but I lean more toward helping out in a pastoral way so that as many family members as possible can be here so that we can all celebrate that baptism. So there are a couple of things, or there's one occasion that we can shift. As I said, these principal feasts take precedence over any other day or observance. One exception is that All Saints' Day, which is November 1st, All Saints' Day can be celebrated in terms of the liturgy on the Sunday following November 1st instead of strictly on November 1st. You will find both done in churches. Some will have a special celebration on November 1st, whatever day of the week it is, and many other churches, particularly I think smaller churches, would choose to celebrate what we call All Saints Sunday, which may not be November 1st, but the next Sunday after it. So these are occasions, these are important occasions in the Episcopal tradition. And if you look in the very beginning of the Book of Common Prayer, you will find a table that goes through every day of the church year and lists the occasions that are tied to that date. Many of those spots are blank, but the ones that are filled in may not include some of these principal feast days because they are days that can move depending on the date of Easter. So if you're looking in your prayer book to find the dates of certain things like Easter Sunday the day of the Ascension, the day of Pentecost, you won't find those listed in that detailed calendar because they are going to vary from year to year. So the next time I want to talk a little bit more about movable feasts and a little bit about how they tie together and how we can determine those dates when we are looking to set our church calendar and our church observances here at St. Peter's.